What's up? Hello. So I always can't help, and for years I can't help but laugh every single time somebody compares Xbox Game Pass to PS Now. There is no comparison. There isn't one. Anybody that has ever played on both knows that. Xbox Game Pass sucks ass compared to PS Now. When it comes to the game's library, the only reasonable and acceptable complaint about PS Now is the streaming involved, because they're mostly like stream-based cloud games. They did eventually get around to making a lot of their games downloadable, which is pretty cool. I used to not care because I was I lived in pretty much in LA. I wasn't in the city of LA, but I was in the LA County. I was right outside of LA, pretty much. So I was near servers, for the cloud servers and stuff. So I almost never. I mean, the experience for streaming was excellent, excellent. So, but I've also experienced when you play cloud gaming and the experience isn't so good. Like I know what people complain about. I know, I get it. It does suck when you're playing a cloud game and it's just not very good. It's all fuzzy and artifacted and laggy and stuff like that. Like I understand the complaints. When it comes to library though, game library, dude, Game Pass is garbage compared to PlayStation Now. And I was just sitting here browsing, trying to figure out where I could put my camera to, like, I don't know. I mean, I could just turn my camera off, but I was just sitting here browsing. I tend to browse through my catalog sometimes when I'm in the mood to maybe pick up a different game, like right now I'm still playing Forspoken, but I've completed the campaign and I'm just completing out the little things on the map because I really love the game. I think it's fun as heck. And I like the world and I like the extra content. It is your normal open world where it's kind of copy paste of the type of content all over the place, but I love it. It's cool, man. It's a really cool game. I would say wait for a sale, especially on PC. I don't know. A PS5 you're probably fine. I don't really know. But PC apparently has a lot of issues for Forspoken. But I have a high-end PC, and for the most part, for the 90% of my game time in that game has been perfect. But I have experienced performance issues, mostly a crash here and there. I've had like 4 or 5 crashes total in my 50 hours of game time, and a couple of them were bad though. I did have a couple computer reboots. That's never fun, especially when you've spent so much on your computer. It's like, what in the hell, man? Like, come on. But anyways, that game apparently has a lot of PC issues. I don't know for sure. But I've been there as well. I've had to play on lower end machines, and that's not a good experience. It's not fun. It always sucks. And I still hate PC, even after having a really high end PC. I hate the fact that I had to spend so much on it. It's gross, dude. I spent half a year paying it off. I didn't have to, but that was a large chunk of money. Anyways, I would be embarrassed to tell you how much, I don't want to. Anyways, because I'm not bragging. That is not money I can happily and easily spend. Anyways, so we're looking at Xbox Game Pass, which has cool games. Like, there's a decent selection of cool stuff on here. They certainly lost a lot that they used to have, but that they all do, right? The PS Now has been through that as well. I remember when they changed. Oh my gosh, I hate the new PS Now tier thing, and I'm actually planning to unsub from it. I have like a year's worth of PS Now. I haven't checked. It probably ends in 2025. I'm not sure. It could be 26 or 20. I don't remember. I just had a lot of years on my thing already subscribed. Because I had gotten deals. I had caught like a couple of those you know, there's a Groupon, or I know maybe one of those like CD sites or CD key type sites or whatever. I forget, but I know I'd gotten like a lot of years worth for like $20 or whatever, you know, for each year or whatever. So I was like, yeah. I remember one time I bought like 3 years worth because it was $20. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll pay $60 for that. Like, yeah, give me 3 years for $60. That's an excellent deal. Anyways, yeah. So Game Pass. I mean, I like the Game Pass ish. It's cool. Like, you know, if I'm in the mood to play stuff on here. But the funny thing is, to me, and I'll get to it when I show you PS Plus, now the PS Plus, and then merging that, and the whole tier thing is really stupid. Like, it's cool that they merged. I always thought it was weird that they didn't have an optional sub for PS Plus where you could have PS Plus and PS Now at the same time. The option would have been cool, but so they finally did it, but they made it forced. You can't have PS Now without PS Plus. And when I first did the merge, I didn't realize that. Somebody else had told me that, and I was like, what? That is stupid. Like, you know, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And then they added the third tier, which is like, why? To screw people over. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. That extra tier didn't add anything. It added literally nothing. It took away and made you have to go for a third tier. It's just stupid. That's our society. That's our business stuff. You know, it's all garbage. It's all nonsense. Anyways, I just felt like scrolling through here, having a look while talking about this stuff. Because I haven't played PS Now in a while. Like a good while. Ever since I got my PC too. I hardly play on my PS4 anymore. The only time I play on there is when I play Rocket League. Just because I haven't switched to PC on that. My main account on Rocket League got permanently banned for cussing out noobs. I'm a jerk when I play online. Anybody that watched me stream on Twitch would know. I'm not proud of it or anything, but man, dude, their matchmaking is useless. You get paired up with the worst players constantly. It's just never ending. It never ends. They don't have any real skill. There's no such thing as skill-based matchmaking, all right? They tell you there is, but there isn't. It's a lie. Like everything else. It's a freaking lie. And you can tell when you play a game for thousands of hours, you can tell that the matchmaking does not exist. The skill-based matchmaking works because it just makes you with anybody, you know, a champion level player getting stuck with bronze players, and that's been going on pretty much since the beginning. It's disgusting. It's terrible. Anyways, so yeah, that was the end of the Game Pass stuff. So there's a decent selection here. For me, mostly not so much, because like I own like 90% of the games that I would play that are on here. Maybe not 90, maybe closer to 80%. But you know, I own most games that I would play on here. But it's cool though. Like I like the selection. There's a decent select. Outriders pisses me off. I really like that game. The expansion should have been free. It should have been free content that they added onto the game, because that game did not launch as a full game. It's a good game. Like, I liked it. I think it's cool. I think Outriders is cool, but the expansion should have been free. That made it a full game. I haven't even played it, but I imagine it made a full game. You know, all this just greedy garbage nonsense is just disgusting. I did not like Guardians of the Galaxy. I played a couple hours of it. I just did not like it. I'd rather play the Avengers game. Although the campaign of Avengers was really good. Endgame, nah. I mean, it's cool to play the Endgame if you like the game, right? Like, it's one of those things, but it's really sloppy. It reminds me of Destiny. It's just this sloppy... It's really sloppy, the way the Endgame is done. And nothing is very, it feels so random, and you don't really have an idea of what you're supposed to do, other than you can just go keep playing missions over and over again, right? Like, it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So if you like it, it's fun and cool to do. You know, like, I played 3 months of Destiny, like, all day, every day. It was a few years ago or so, I don't know. And I had played a bunch of Destiny 1 and 2, but I hadn't really played it, like, super hardcore. And then there was a period where I was like, I just got really into it, and I just got really into it, and I played it for like 3 or 4 months, like every day, all day long. Destiny 2, and love that game. But it is the same exact thing over and over 100 billion times over. It's not like you're really doing anything new, you know. But it is fun. Like if you're in the mood to play that, it's fun to do. It's the same thing with the Avengers. I really like the Avengers. So like I'm telling you, man, I really like the campaign. I don't like the mission setup. Like the mission table thing is lame. The whole hub thing. I understand why they design stuff like that, but there's got to be a better way, right? But anyways, I love the campaign of Avengers. If you haven't played it, try it sometime, right? Like just play it for the heck of it. And if you're not into it, like, with any game you ever play and you ever try, if you don't like it right away, I've learned that it's mostly my mood, not in the mood to play it. And the only reason I learned that is because I've been through it with many things, including movies and TV shows, where I tried to watch it at some point and I just really didn't like it. And then years later, I was like, all right, I'll try it again. And I ended up loving it. And it was one of my most favorite things ever. And I was like, oh, I did not even think that was possible. But it is possible. So always try something again later at another time if you weren't in the mood to try it. Play through it that one time you did try it, you know. I do that all the time. I mean, like, I just tried that Hi-Fi Rush game, played it for like an hour or so, and I was like, nah. Not even an hour, maybe like half hour to 40 minutes, or around there. And I was like, nah. I love Tron Run. That game is cool, man. Tron Run is cool. That's like, it's a runner. It's like an endless runner, but it's not like a mobile. It's like this is a real full game. Like it was made for console and PC, right? They might have had it on mobile too, but it's really cool. It's good looking visually. I don't even know if it was on mobile, but it's an endless runner, and there's like a lot of levels. I forgot, it does have the DLC crap, but if you have the DLC with it, it's got a lot of content. Like, it's badass. That is a badass game. I forget what I was talking about, but but anyways, just always try a game another time again, and it doesn't mean you'll like it the next time you try it too, right? You know, I've been through, it took me like 5 different times trying to watch Supergirl before I got really into it, because it's a super cheesy freaking show, man. I remember Judgment was on here before, a couple years ago or so, and then they removed it. So earlier, just before I started recording this, I scrolled through what made me want to record this and just sit here and yap and show this was because I was looking through the Game Pass, as I tend to do, just looking for something to play. That's how I ended up playing Hi-Fi Rush. I saw it when it first came out, and I knew it was coming to Game Pass. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I even shared it on Facebook and stuff. But I wasn't in the mood to try it when it first came out, which was like, a week ago or something? What the hell was that? What the hell just happened? Just like auto reset, I guess. I wasn't in the mood to try it like right away. I think it's been out for like a week, maybe, right? Like, it's pretty new. But then I was browsing through my Game Pass catalog, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go ahead and try that. And then I uninstalled it pretty much right away. Just not in the mood. You know, that's all. No big deal. It's not. I didn't hate it or anything. I was just like, nah, I'm not down for this right now. And I do like rhythm games, but I've never really gotten super hardcore into any of them. So I was browsing through the Xbox Game Pass library, and I'm never impressed by it. I have never been impressed by it. Mostly because PS Now already had at least half the games that were in there anyways. But then I was thinking, it's been a while since I even booted up the PS Now app. Normally I would rather go, especially now, I'd rather download the games and play them without streaming them. But I do like streaming them. But anyways, I went through the must-play list up here, the first one, and I let it scroll, and I was like, dude, this is already more games than the Xbox Game Pass. Not the first row by itself, but it's just like already more games that I would want to play. I was like, holy crap. And it doesn't surprise me because I'd already always known PS Now is way better than Xbox Game Pass, and every time I see comments and forums and all these stupid articles, and they still do it all the time. It's always a thing whenever Xbox Game Pass does something. There's always these stupid people saying how much better than the PlayStation version it is or whatever, and people always tell me how, like, oh, PlayStation doesn't have anything to compete with this. Like, what do you People are so stupid. They're too stupid, and I'm just sick and tired of it, man. I used to try to be nice about it. I've always been nice about it. 'Cause I'm like, whatever, man, you know. But now I'm done. The past few years have taught me too much, and now I hate everybody because everybody's a damn moron. It's horrible. It sucks. It's horrible. It's a horrible lesson. Oh, I forgot that I had my own library of stuff that I had, like my playlist to play or whatever. I'd forgotten all about this. Quantum Theory is pretty cool. I was like pretty far into it, and then I just stopped playing. It's one of those things, you know, sometimes you play a game for a while, then you're just like, all right, I'm going to play something else. It's weird. I think, I'm trying to think about it, because I used to usually beat a game when I would start playing it, but I think I did a lot of rentals, though, when I was younger. Like, I used to rent a lot of games from Blockbuster, so that was different. Even Gamefly, too, right? Like, you only have a certain amount of time from Blockbuster. You had, like, a 5-day, I think it was a 5-day rental period. And you know, you want to beat it before you take it back, right? Oh, my play history. Interesting. Alright, let's see. We got sports. Steep's a cool game. Dude, I love, what's it called? The new one, Riders Republic. Oh, man, Riders Republic is so good. Holy crap. That game is excellent. It's really, really, really good. I'm actually currently subscribed right now to Ubi Plus or whatever. I was in the mood to play some of their games again. I had subscribed to them before for like a month. That was when I played Riders Republic, and then I recently resubbed again because I was just in the mood to start playing some more stuff there. But then I got Forspoken, and I've been playing that a lot. I'm mostly done with it now. I'm just finishing up the side stuff, just because I want to. I love the world. I love the combat. I actually like the content. The side content, as even if it's repetitive, like the environments are different. It's just really cool. It's a really cool game. I would not. Well, I would say if you have money to burn, I would recommend it at full price. But with anything, I would recommend waiting. Any game. I don't tend to recommend games at full price because I'm a poor person. You know, I'm not rich and stuff. You know, so. I'm used to getting games on sale. Although, some years back, like even probably a decade or a little bit longer, I stopped buying like every game I ever wanted on sale, and I just started buying like the one game that I really wanted. Mostly because I remember I had friends tell me the same thing before it finally happened to me, where I had people telling me stuff like, I don't buy games on sale anymore. I just buy the one I want. And then at the time, I had been like, oh, I wait for sales, mostly because I was broke. You know, like. Used to being broke, having no money and stuff, so I just would wait for games to be really cheap on sale and stuff. But finally, eventually, especially after your library grows, right, you know, you have like a jillion games and you're not playing them all and stuff. Kingdom Hearts Undershooter, that stuff always cracks me up, man. Like there's in the Game Pass too, Assassin's Creed Origin or Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is in the S section for some reason on the Xbox Game Pass. Here, let me see. I'm pretty sure it's still here. Watch. Let's see. Let's see. And it's been like that for months. Because this is alphabetical order. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey is under S. It's been that probably for a year. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, why? How do they not know? Like, hello, Assassin's Creed. Or is it the S in Odyssey? Like Odyssey, right? It just makes me laugh because it's been like that for a really long time. I was like, dude, I wonder if people even know that game's in the freaking Xbox Game Pass. But that is a thing I've seen. It's not just it's everywhere, right? Like anytime you have categories, there's always like these games in there where it's like, why is that game in that category? It makes no sense. Steam has it too. There's categories that Steam has games. It's just like, what? That doesn't. What? Why is that there? What was I saying? Crap, I was saying something too. I was talking about stuff I wanted to keep talking about, but whatever. Shadow Warrior 2 is incredible. I highly recommend Shadow Warrior 2. 1 was excellent. 2 is my favorite. I remember when 2 was new. A lot of people said 1 was better. 2 is so much better to me. It's so much better. It has this like open world design to it, but it's not an open world game. It's very weird because you can play it like go anywhere you want, kind of. When you're inside of a mission, you can go anywhere in the map, but you shouldn't. You should. It's a waste of time. And that's what like the only reason I learned that is because I did it myself. I loved the game so much, and when I was playing it, I treated it like it was an open world game at first, probably for a few hours or so. And then it's just too funny. There are shooter parts in the game. Freaking hell. But yeah, so I played Shadow Warrior 2 like a few hours, and treating it like it was an open world game and kind of just going wherever I wanted to explore and get loot. But it didn't take too long before I realized it was a waste of time, and because it's not really like you're not gonna find hidden caves in the world themselves. The mission areas and stuff, they're not enormous, right? Like it's not an actual open world game. It's just open, right? Like you can kind of within the maps are decent size. They're actually pretty big, but they're not. It's not like an actual open world game. So they are designed specifically for the missions that you're on, and you're just in the same map that you would be if you were on a different mission. So basically, I would say if you first go trying out Shadow Warrior 2, explore all you want, but you'll eventually come to the same conclusion that I did, that it's just not really worth it. And it just stick to your main mission and follow your mission and go to where you're supposed to go for the mission, because you will be replaying each of those maps multiple times for different missions. You'll go back to your hub, you'll turn in your quest, and you'll get a new quest, and then you go back to it, the same level. It depends on the story part. Sometimes you'll go to a new level, but I don't remember how many maps were in Shadow Warrior 2 like total. There's not a lot. There's enough. I would say there's enough. It's an amazing game, though. It's amazing. I freaking love Shadow Warrior 2. I also really enjoyed Part 3. They actually finally ended up adding a New Game Plus. I was already kind of out of the mood to play anymore, though. I played it when it first came out, because I think they launched Shadow Warrior 3 with PS Now on launch day, which I think that was the first game they ever did a launch day game on PS Now. I think Shadow Warrior 3 was the very first one they ever did. And that was cool. Yeah, so I played that, and it was pretty short. It was cool, though. It was probably like an 8 to 10 hour game if you take your time. I'm sure you could blast through it like pretty quick, like probably a few hours. But and that's the thing too. Like it's never rushed through a game, like unless you have to. And then we usually do that with rentals or stuff like that, right? If it's a game we don't really want to play and we're just checking it out, we'll just force ourselves to kind of hurry through things. And that's never a good way to enjoy a game. You can't enjoy a game like that. That's why most of the time first impressions go badly if you're not really in the mood to take your time. Like Forspoken, for example, has a horrible start, and overall, it has terrible pacing. Really terrible pacing. It's bad. It's very bad pacing when it comes to the story, the way that you're forced to walk slow at certain parts, and you're forced to like just stand there and watch the NPCs talk to each other. And that's a normal part of any game where you have NPC dialogue. It is a normal part of that kind of stuff, but that always bugs me, especially after I play games where you don't have to sit there, like The Division 2, for example. Usually there are like cinematic parts, but normally when you're talking to NPCs and picking up a quest or whatever, you can still move around at least, right? Which it's not a big deal. It is a complaint I have after having experienced games where you don't have to sit there and stare at two people just talk to each other, because there's nothing unless the dialogue is really good, it's boring, like JRPGs drive me nuts. And I love, like when I was a kid and I first got into RPGs, I loved all the little banter, all the little useless talk. I'm done with that. I'm like, stop talking about cupcakes, please just stop talking about cupcakes, please just give me the story, man. Give me this, make it interesting, give me a reason to watch these two characters talking to each other, man, please. But anyways, why did I even get into that? That's funny. Just because I'm, like now I'm at the point. I mean, I'm old though, right? Like I'm 45. I've played games for a jillion years since I was 5 years old on Atari. Been playing games for a really long time. So, anyways, there are things that I'm sick of, and I try, especially now, I try to remember. I try to. You gotta remember these things when we're older, like why we don't like TV shows and movies, because we've seen them all a million times before. It's not because the movie or TV show or game sucks, it's because we've already seen it like a jillion times. We're old enough to have gone through this too many times. So all these new games come out, they're exactly what we played a million times. We're like, oh, it's the same old, like. But for a younger gamer, who they're usually is the target audience as younger people, which is weird, depends, like, especially on the games, like, but it sucks to think about that. Like, a lot of the games, anything is targeted to a younger audience. Like, even Call of Duty is targeted to a younger audience, and it shouldn't be, but it is. Oh, I love Bulletstorm, man. That game is awesome. I think there was a rumor of a part 2, I think there was a rumor of a part 2, but I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, so it's hard to I find it hard to properly like review or judge a game, and I have been trying to keep in mind that I've been playing them for so long that's why a lot of these things, these annoyances that have been around for 30 freaking years, are still happening. I'm just like, why? How are we still making games that still have the same issues that we had 30 years ago? Like, how is this even possible? Like, what in the hell, man? It's super annoying. It's super annoying. But I guess maybe the devs or whatever don't expect players to have been playing for 30 plus years. But also, new dev teams going through the same new, I don't know. That's my assumption, and I'm it's probably a good guess, right? Like, it's just newer people coming in and for some reason not learning from the previous mistakes of other people. They're not getting trained. That's the thing, man, about everything right now. Everything. It sucks so bad. We're all trained to be robots by robots. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, especially with online work, right? Like, it's still different in real life, I think. But even in real life, like, there's still, like, I worked at Blockbuster Video, and now I worked at Magic Mountain. It was a little different there because even the manager worked there, like, on the job. Like, the main manager. We still had, you still have CEO and stuff, but the main people where I worked there was... even the high up dude was actually like on foot there at the park working and stuff. But at Blockbuster Video, one of the higher ups would come in like once a month or so to like check in on whatever the numbers and stuff like that, and they'd always have something to bitch about, like every time, and they had people above them as well. That were bitching at them. It's all about the money, always. It's never not been about the money. More money, more money. That's always a thing, right? And once somebody higher up says something and bitches about something, all of a sudden it just trickles down. That's the trickle-down economics, right? It's not money. It's the bitching. When one person up top starts bitching, goes down to the next person that starts bitching, to the next person that starts bitching, and so on until the bottom. And everybody gets upset, and everybody's all of a sudden everything's just a bunch of bull crap. It's hard. That's the normal thing of, like, that's how it goes. That's the ladder. It's so stupid. I love Beyond Two Souls, man. That game is so awesome. I love the story. I love the paranormal story and stuff. It's so good. I've actually been thinking about playing that again. Thought about picking it up on PC. Anyways, why was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I've been working remote for a long time now, and the training is really bad when it comes to doing a job. It basically always comes down to read the documents, memorize everything, and just know the documents, and there's no real personal interaction kind of a thing, and everybody just acts like a robot. And because it's all based on your statistics, everything in that kind of work is based on how fast you do a ticket. It's not even the quality of the ticket. It's never about the quality of the ticket. It's never about how much attention you spent and gave to like what needed to be looked at. I mean, this is why if you ever wonder why you get really stupid responses from support, asking you questions you already answered, that's why. It's all about the time they took to do a ticket, and that's the pressure. If they ever, they're always bitching at me, always, especially on my current project, because I'm past the point of giving a crap, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just gonna help this person. I don't care how long it takes, and they always get on me too. They're always like, your TPH isn't good enough, which is I think tickets per hour or something, and I never care. Every time they bitch at me, I don't care. My worry, my personal thing that I think of when I do the job is, am I helping this player? That's my own personal thing. I don't give a crap how fast I do a ticket, man. But it is annoying because I'm constantly getting bitched at, whatever. But that's why, though. That's why you get really stupid responses from support teams, from like online support teams. There is and also, dude, I mean, part of the process of everything is it's such a, I don't even want to talk about it because it's all so gross. It really is. It's just all gross. Let's go back to talking about Shadow Warrior 2. That game is cool though. Like, I love Shadow Warrior 2, man. That's a really, really cool game. So anyways, I'm sure you can probably tell. So we got through the categories and now we're going through the alphabetical order of games. And I imagine, if you've been looking while I've been sitting here talking, I imagine that you could probably already tell how many more games are in PS Now than Game Pass. I mean, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. There's no comparison, man. PS Now is a jillion times better than Xbox Game Pass. There's no PS Now shits on Xbox Game Pass, alright? Just shits on it. Just diarrhea all over Game Pass. Like, I don't mean to use the language. I'm just, it's funny, man. It's funny. All these God of Wars. I love God of Wars. I loved Ascension, man. Dude, I didn't like the story so much, mostly because I was like a prequel. Like, it was weird. I always thought it was weird. It's a good story. It's cool. And it's a really good game, like, overall. It's a really good, cool game. What in the world? Why does it keep doing that? But like, a lot of the prequel stuff was already done throughout the trilogy. like throughout 1 through 3, you would get parts. Like, there'd be parts throughout those stories that were like, here's what happened in his past or whatever kind of a thing. And then Ascension just like took all that and then like put it together or something. I don't know. It was strange. They did have new stuff too. And it was cool. Like, it was really cool. Dude, Ascension, man, the multiplayer, I will never forget like how good the multiplayer was. Did we just pass? No, okay. I always thought it was strange because the multiplayer was really, really damn good. Surprisingly good. When they said there was going to be multiplayer in God of War, I was like, how are you even going to do that? That makes no sense. There's no way that's going to work. I did not get hardcore into it. I always wanted to. I just never did. I don't know, man. I'm weird with multiplayer. I'm very weird with multiplayer games. It takes a lot to keep me playing it. It's very strange. Like, Rocket League's probably the only multiplayer game I played the most of. And I had played over 200 hours of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Wait, yeah. Was it Advanced Warfare? I think it was Advanced Warfare, because I really liked that game. Also Homefront, mostly because it was on Live, though, and on Live was very special to me at the time. So that was cool. That was very enjoyable. But, I don't know. So as much as I love a lot of multiplayer games and multiplayer stuff, I don't really stick to it. Not normally. It's strange. I don't know why. It's like, I'll play it and I like it and I think it's cool. But takes something special to keep me going. That's why Advanced Warfare was really special to me. It was the only Call of Duty where you could actually flank and you weren't trapped in a freaking lane. I hate Call of Duty for that crap, man. And Battlefield is just too much. There's too much camping and sniping involved in Battlefield. The maps are too big and everybody just camps like a... That's just boring. So, to me anyways. So, like, you know, it's hard for me to find a game that I really enjoy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I actually like Uncharted multiplayer. Uncharted multiplayer is really good. Anyways, God of War Ascension. So, when they said there was going to be multiplayer in God of War Ascension... my first thought was like, that's gonna suck probably, but we'll see. I mean, I wasn't hating it right away. I was just like, I couldn't imagine it being good. I was like, how, what? It's what? How, what? But it was awesome. Dude, God of War's multiplayer was freaking awesome, and everybody crapped on it like normal. Like everybody who played it, that was actively playing it, loved it, but like the internet shat all over it, right? That's how the internet is, man. It's a trip to see the sheep in action, especially when you realize, I never really saw it the way I see it now. Not until I experienced being the true brainwashing of my own. I mean, we've all been brainwashed our whole lives, but when you realize just how deep it has been, it's very painful. It's very painful. Anyways, once you see that though, and I would hope, man, ever since I really like woke up or whatever, right, and I really saw, because I always, there's things you know, right, there's things you know are bullcrap and stuff like that, and you know this and that, but when people say like everything's a lie, when they, anyways, it's. I don't know how to go with that, right? Like, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to even think about. Like, anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, the sheep. The sheep. It stands out more. It stands out more once you realize what, like, it makes me wish that. So it makes me wish my mom had taught me a little better when I was younger, a little better on some of the stuff involved with the government, like. She was always insistent that you can't trust them. Makes sense. We oversimplify, though. We oversimplify. It's not just that you can't trust them. They are literally genocidal maniacs. They are literally thieves. You know, everything involved with government is horrible. A true, disgusting, hellish nightmare. And we don't really learn this. And like, even in history, here's the thing, and even on the news, like, if you watch the news right now, I haven't really watched news in a while, but like, if you watch the real news, the way they talk about stuff, it's done on purpose. Whenever they talk about anything that's happening right now, over here and over there and over there and whatever, when they talk about anything, they always make it sound like it's already done. Like, oh, this is what happened. This is what happened. It's already done. So it makes you think that, you know, there's nothing that can be done about it because it's already in the past. But that's not the truth. It's ongoing. It's always ongoing. So it's weird, man. So you have to know this. You have to know that. Well, yeah, it's all mirage. Like, there is an illusion to everything. It's pretty nuts, man. It's horrible. So it makes me wish. While I did know the government was bad, we also know there's laws, right? There's authority, there's rules, which makes sense, right? We can understand why you wouldn't want to just go around murdering people, kind of. And now I'm kind of feeling different on that one. Forgive me. I don't mean it the way you think I mean it, probably. But yeah, man, it just makes me... Oh, so they used to have part 1 as well. Star Wars Force Unleashed. Part 1 was on here as well as part 2. I love part 2. I remember when I first played part 2, I thought it was better than part 1. Because I think it had been a while since I played part 1, and then I finally got around to playing part 2, and I loved part 2. I just thought part 2 was really cool. And then when I went back years later, probably, I went back and played part 1, and then played part 2 again. And I was like, oh, now I understand why people say part 1 is better. Because I actually played them closer to each other. Like, I played part 1 and then I played part 2 kind of right away. And I was like, oh, now I get it. Because when I first played Part 2, I didn't understand why everybody thought 1 was so much better. Part 2 is freaking awesome. And as far as like the story, I like the story of Part 2 better. Mostly because there's more, right? They're not like longer, but just, I don't know. I liked the story in Part 2. The story in Part 1 is also excellent, of course, right? You know. But anyways, when I first played it, I thought Part 2 was better. And then I went back and I replayed them closer together. And I was like, oh, yeah, Part 1 is better overall. It's an overall better game. Those games are awesome, though, man. I freaking love... I love Star Wars. Oh, because it's under Ultimate. That's funny. It's under the Ultimate Sith Edition instead of being like right next. Okay. All right, that's kind of funny. It's always annoying how they do stuff like that, though, right? Starlink is awesome. It's awesome. It's super repetitive. But if you like No Man's Sky, but you want a faster version of No Man's Sky, that's the game. That is the game. All right. It's fun. I actually think about it all the time. I'm like, I need to go back and play more. I'm not quite in the mood ready for that, though. And also, it's kind of a hard game to return to because you forget everything. Although, it's not that hard, though. It's not that hard. It's just mostly because there's so many different ship... what's it called? Like, loadouts that you can make. And they're different weapon types. And I just forget all the things that I had used. And there's, like, enemies have certain weaknesses and stuff. There was a part... I guess I was playing like on the same planet or two or similar planets, and they kind of had the same enemies. So I was using the same weapons and they were fine. But then I went to a new planet that had like enemies with different weaknesses, and I never ended up figuring out the right weapons to use. That was kind of a pain, but that's also cool though. It's cool. Like that's actually one thing I love about Forspoken. When you get up once you unlock your new ability sets and stuff, you start to see you can switch between your ability sets really easily. One keybind and when you attack enemies, you can tell like almost right away if they're vulnerable to your attacks and stuff. That's cool, man. Starlink not as easy to do because you have to actually go into your inventory, switch weapons around, and they have mods. There's all these mods that you can modify the weapons with in your ship, and it's a cool game. It's a really cool game. So if you like No Man's Sky, you should definitely try Starlink. Try it. I think that's on Xbox Game Pass. I might be wrong. I forget. Actually, here, let's look real quick. I forget. I think it is, but I don't remember. I know it was at one point. Like, Starlink was on Game Pass. It looks like they removed it. It's definitely on, like, Ubisoft Plus or whatever, which I think is still coming to Xbox Game Pass. I thought it was going to be here already, but I'm pretty sure they said it was coming to Xbox Game Pass. I'm also pretty sure... I think they actually already added it to PS Now. I think. PS Plus, whatever. I still think of it as PS Now. I think it's already in PS Plus. But Starlink was already on PS Now before they even were going to add like the whole Ubisoft Plus to it. Starlink was already on PS Now before they did that thing. Starlink is a cool game, though. It's cool. It is repetitive. Like that was one of the first complaints people had. It is repetitive, but it's a cool as hell game. Like it's very cool. I'm taking a breather at the moment while we scroll through here just for fun. I forget what I was talking about and stuff, but you know. Anyways, yeah. So, oh yeah, I do wish that I really like for history too, right? Like as far as trusting the government and MSM and all that, you always hear these things about how bad they are, but if you don't really take a look, you don't really understand like how deep it all goes. You just don't. If you're just hearing from people that government's bad, MSM is lies, you don't really understand the depth of it unless you go and really research it, you know, you really look into it. Like, so it reminds me of like history classes too. This is what I was thinking about. Like, so I always knew the government was bad, but I didn't know they are truly evil. You might as well think of them as Satan. You might as well think of them as Satan. I'm not kidding. It's not an exaggeration. It's not hyperbole. You might as well think the government is Satan along with MSM. You might as well. You should. It was the same thing with history, though. Like a history class, for example. Like whenever while all that was a bunch of nonsense, white man kill everybody, white man's the hero. It was also as if it was in the past. They never, like, no teachers ever connected it to current times and things that was happening right now, because history never ended. History didn't stop. History wasn't in the past. History has been ongoing. It's never changed. It's the same thing. We're still living shit that's been going on for decades. It's been going on for hundreds of years. It's the same thing. But that's how they teach it, though. And it's like I said, like on the news, they talk about stuff like as if it happened in the past, when no, it's happening right now. But that's the way it's very deliberate. It's to trick you, you know. It is. It's to trick you. So yeah, I'm kind of upset about that. Whatever, man. It's messed up. I loved Wild Arms. One thing I hate how they don't have trailers and screenshots. They should have trailers and screenshots. Some games do, but like 10% of the games on here have trailers and screenshots, and it's probably mostly the new ones, right? Like PS4 games or whatever. But not even all the PS4 games. I don't think all the PS4 games even have that. But I remember I played Wild Arms on the PlayStation 1. I think I had tried Part 3 and never got into it. But at that time I was getting into other games and like different genres. I loved Wild Arms, dude. Like that's all I remember. I just remember loving it. That's like. I don't really remember like much about the game though. But anyways, like look how although the scrolling is different, if they had like all games on here, it'd probably be easier to like scroll, but it would still take longer to scroll through all these than it would the Game Pass. No, I mean the PS Now shits all over the Game Pass, and it just makes me laugh so much. I get it, I understand, like it's kind of mostly as far as all the games, because most of the games in here I find, unless I'm wrong, unless they changed it, because I know they added a lot of games for download. But it was like mostly PS4 games though. Almost everything else. They did make like PS2 games downloadable as well, but almost all the games in PS Now, you had to play in the cloud. So I can understand that complaint. But as far as the library goes, shit's all over Game Pass. Like Game Pass is a joke. Game Pass is a joke compared to PS Now, man. So it's just always made me laugh, dude. You know. And I'm not trying to crap on Game Pass itself. Like Game Pass is cool, man. Like it's a cool little plan to play of little games in there and stuff. It's cool. That's just PS Now is so much better, Although I hate their forced tier system where you can't subscribe to PS Now separately from PS Plus, and then that extra tier, which is nonsense. It's nonsense. Like, that's disgusting. Like, they could have just merged the two together as a bundle at the same price, because it still costs that much. That's the thing. That's why that extra tier makes no sense, because it still costs the same to have the full tier as it would have if they had just merged PS Now and PS Plus. So that extra tier, they call it optional. What's the option? It's the same price. With the extra, what is the option? What? Hello? It's really stupid. What they should have done is, and hopefully eventually they'll get around to changing it, but what they should have done was kept the option to be PS Now separate subscribed from PS Plus, but as well as being able to pay for it together. Maybe technically that's too hard for them to do as far as like splitting the plans, like maybe it'd be too buggy, you're right? Like some kind of infrastructure technology thing. I don't know. But that's probably why they did that. But they're like, I don't know. It's just weird though, right? Anyways, I didn't expect this to go on for as long as it did. But I sat here yapping, right? And talked about a bunch of stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the things I said. I don't know. I know I rambled and that was cool. Anyways, all right. I want to sit here and talk more, but I'm done. We scrolled through the list. I just mostly wanted to show the comparison between PS Now and Xbox Game Pass, because like I said, I was browsing through Xbox Game Pass and I hadn't booted the PS Now app up in a while, and then I booted up and I was like, and immediately I was like, look here, I'm just gonna make a video. All right, anyways, talk to you later. Wish you the best. Good luck. Bye bye.